Welcome back to DevMarcon, the first developer marketing summit from the Product Marketing Alliance. I hope you're enjoying the content so far. I want to thank you all for joining us and send out an extra special thank you to all our sponsors, partners and participants who together have made this event possible. Their sessions are bursting with insights to help you level up. But remember, the learning doesn't stop here. If you haven't already, you can become a PMA member and benefit from unlimited access to all today's content, along with a whole host of other exclusive content and tools. Or simply upgrade to an Access All Areas pass to catch up with all session recordings on demand. And remember, have your questions at the ready. Simply post them in the comments section and get awesome advice from our experts. We've got another awesome session lined up for you now, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the talk.
Hey everyone, and thank you for joining this session today with us. And I would like to thank also the Product Marketing Alliance for having me here in this amazing festival. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here again. So a little bit about me. My name is Asaf. I'm 34 years old. I'm based in Tel Aviv. I started my journey actually as a PR or a spokesperson. I decided to try then a little bit different angles until I came across an opportunity of being a project manager, which eventually I evolved into being a product manager. And then this is where I fell in love actually in the product and marketing realm. So after that, after a few years, I got an opportunity also to become a product marketing manager. And this is where I really feel like I belong. And this is combine all the skills and stuff that I like to do. Besides that, I like to do music a little bit in my home. I live with my fiance in Tel Aviv, and I love cooking also. So yeah. Cool. So why are we here today? Eventually, I wanted to share with you our story as Wix and Velo, how it evolved, what were the challenges that we've encountered as Wix, and how we tried eventually to fulfill the intent of our users, our customers, and how we translated it into goals and KPIs eventually. So for people of you who are not familiar with Wix, Wix is a comprehensive website builder platform, online of course. It allows people all around the world to create professional web apps and just by simply dragging and dropping elements and apps. So the way to customize this amazing website that they create and to make it even more custom and meet their business needs is by using Velo. And Velo is the development platform on top of Wix and Editor X editor, and it allows developers to use JavaScript and customize the behavior of the site, and it's pretty amazing product. And we will talk, and you will see it a little bit later on. The thing about Velo and Wix, we had some perception problems, and the thing is like this. We all deal with different types of products and audiences, obviously, and every audience has its own unique style, tone, way of consuming information or learn. It could be also like business owners, it could be designers, entrepreneurs, developers, but somehow it always feels to me that developers are a very specific type of audience. They are very sophisticated. You cannot just simply use obviously fluff on them, or it's not easy to market them just with real good taglines. They want to know how, they want to use the latest technologies that are now around the world, they always need to be up to date. They have their own tools that they're used to. It's very hard to move developers from one tool that they are already used to a different one and change their way of working. Another thing is that they don't click much on things. From our experience, developers click-through rate is so low, it's 0 point something, really. And it's all around different platforms. Believe me, it could vary, obviously, some places more and some places less, but in general, they don't like to click ads. Um, and they trust only fellow developers mostly. It's very, very important for them to learn about new stuff and use new stuff by recommendation. They follow recommendation of thought leaders, um, professionals around the world, all on different like websites and social platforms. But in Wix, we use we deal mostly um, with DIY audience. The thing about the DIY do-it-yourself audience, it's was used to be mostly like small to medium businesses and people who needed a website so they can do it pretty much quickly and then without and even without knowing how to code, right? So as we grew in the product, the company and amount of users, there was a real need from our users uh, for a way to gain more control over the website. So the company worked really, really hard, days and nights, just in order to provide our users a way to enable them to customize their site. And Wix Code was the answer, actually. So on 2017, we released Wix Code. When Wix Code was open, we had already a lot of existing users. So we invested a lot of effort in our inbound and still do. Our users were really happy about it. And as it and the exposure and adoption was growing, there was huge demand for it and for more capabilities. But it still was very challenging to attract the audience of developers, the top developers, to use it because um, it was a little bit simple for them at the beginning or didn't give them a much of control as they wanted to. But the thing is like this. At Wix, we are user obsessed. We are focused on our users' intent, what they're trying to achieve, what is their main intent. So we put a lot of effort into interviewing our users and potential ones, of course, to learn more about the missing gaps and what should we need um, to develop, which features. We extended and deepened so much our BI events to get even more data. It's really hard to get this data from developers because they code and use APIs, but we have deepened it much more so we can truly understand their behavior and what they like and what they use most. Um, and also we are putting a lot of effort in our forum. We are always looking at the forum discussions. What are the questions? Um, how often they pose this kind of questions and how many answers do they have? We really have also a lot of data regarding this. And obviously we have feature requests. We give a lot of effort to our feature request and a lot of focus. This is like really drive the product. And obviously we learn about our potential customers so much, but this is where we want to head. This is where we want to go eventually and be there. So in order to understand their needs and how to deliver them better, eventually we had to learn we had to learn few stuff, and this is like the lessons that we learned. We need more features that will support their dev cycle. Developers need even more control over the website. They need, from their perspective, they need as much as control as they want. Um, And the third one is that they need a lot of education, whether they are developers or coders or non-coders. Education, education, education. This is the key, and obviously to make it in the most in the best way that fits their needs. But and obviously the fourth point is to grow the community. The community supports each other. When it comes to developers, it's so important. The community is will be a and still is a big uh, engine to grow the product through the community, obviously. And the fifth point that is unfortunately still when developers hear Wix, they used to say, or like when they used to hear Wix, they used to say, ah, so you don't need me for that, right? Like it's like DIY platform. So it's still quite challenging to bring traditional developers. Um, so then we understood that we have like a really perception problem. Like developers got intimidated by learning about Wix and hearing Wix. So, but we do feel what we and we feel that we have like the best product, and for developers we have so much to offer. So we wanted to move from the DIY, the do-it-yourself users, to the developers essentially, and it was a big challenge. But what we understood that maybe we should change a little bit our approach and to offer them it in the product in a different way. So we renamed in 2019. We decided to rebrand from Wix Code that had Wix in it to Corvid. That was our best name at the time. It was really cool. It had like four and it was like kind of ringing good and we create like amazing logo and like and everybody used to be great Corby developers. But as you may know, we we encountered some problem with this name, even though we had a great job like creating a unique brand, more sophisticated, more less talking about Wix, but rather about the development. Um, the name came into a problem, and we were even though we were growing. And for those of you who are not aware what Corvid is or Corvidae. It's from the crows family. It's super intelligent, really fast, high bird. So yeah, we did grow and use this, and that branding was great. But then pandemic came. So instead of being Corvid, it sounded like COVID. And nobody wants to be a COVID developer, right? So we experienced SEO collisions and social comments were really not positive and really made fun of the brand. And it was really against us. We understood that the situation is going to stay and we had no choice but to rename it again. And yeah, this is what we did. So you can see here on Google, like starting with COVID instead of Corvid. COVID tips that offering, you can see at the comments, why Corvid? Etc. etc. You can see like really, and so indeed, new brand was needed. Um, so we were looking for something that really reflects the values that we want to see, want to um, convey to our users: velocity, security, hyperspeed, professional, sophisticated, and reliable. These like are the main ones. And so within just 2 months, we created a whole new brand, a homepage, an acquisition video, and campaigns just for the newborn. I would like to show you our video, and I hope you like it.
As you know, this is COVID. the virus. Now, this is Corvid, a full stack web development platform.
The hell is Corvid?
Oh,
Is this another virus?
just give me a second. Corvid lets you use custom code to rapidly build professional web applications.
No, COVID. Not COVID.
No, we're talking about Corvid, like this. Damn it.
You might have a branding problem on your hands.
Do you think so, Phil?
Yeah, calling a product Corvid is an excellent idea in 2020.
Actually, we named it in 2019, before the pandemic, after this super intelligent bird
Bad name. I've never liked it, even before the pandemic. I need a vaccine.
Uh-huh.
Wow, worst brand name ever. Hey, copywriter.
All right, we hear you. It's time for a new name. So now, 11 crazy months later, we present to you Velo. Smarter, faster, and definitely not a pandemic. Your move, Corona.
Cool. So what eventually we did here is that we decided that we don't want to fight it. Like we had so many comments and even funny stuff that people say about the brand name of Corvid. And we just thought like, why fight it? Let's listen to them. Obviously we need to change. And they had such a great feedbacks, more funny, more less funny, but we want them to show them that we can evolve quickly, that we can listen, and we can always improve. And we invested in this acquisition and promoting it to many users and audiences. And I'm really glad to say that it was very successful. Um, and the feedback and engagement were great. And we saw really growth upon newcomers and more visits to our documentation and during and after this campaign. So this video was really successful from different angles, and I'm really grateful to be part of this. We just wanted to show our users that we do listen to them. They had so much great input and feedback, and it was so funny also. So why not use it? Why not to show them that we can evolve and we can listen to them at the same time? So we really invested in this, and there was a big engagement, and we really have seen a growth of newcomers and even more visits of existing users to our resources. And this was a great KPI to achieve. Another thing is the website. We created a new different website, obviously. We wanted to show a different kind of professionalized way and a little bit more down to earth. And it was really amazing process of curating the intent into this homepage. And that our design team had made an amazing job about it. So I'm very grateful for this. So another thing that we did was creating a new improved development experience. It's not enough just to change your brand. You need to always listen to your users, as you said, but also to give them like the experience. When it comes to developers, it's so essential to give them a development experience, something that can relate to, something that they can that will look familiar to them from different kind of tools that they are already using, right? So, for instance, as you can see here, this what used to be our old interface. You have the code editor, you have the left tree, like in databases, and as you can see, it's like it's really simplified, but it was really the beginning. It was Corvid, and then again, we created a new interface that really talks more in a language that they understand. It shows more what the types of different files and does and allows them to use multiple tabs. Like it really brings more the essentials that developers need in order to develop much faster and to have a full dev cycle. So, and the feedback also was really great, and we are very happy with this. So we have also few lessons learned, obviously, from this campaign. So besides the fact that users do care about brand, I guess, because our existing users were so much more prouder to show, to talk about Velo and being a Velo developer instead of a COVID or COVID developer. Um, they're really standing behind the brand name, and we learned a lot from it. So eventually, you don't want to let your brand name sound like a pandemic, right? This is something that you want to avoid, obviously. You always have to listen to your audience, like give them what they want, like, and you should talk with them and always learn about them. And knowing your audience is like the key to really grow and become successful in marketing and product eventually. Don't be afraid to admit a mistake. Yes, our rebranding to Corvid was not successful that much, but it was also a coincidence. But then again, it was a mistake. We admitted it, and it just turned out to be amazing. We always, and the fourth one was to always be straightforward with your audience. Try to always give, like to talk in the level that they understand, not to overpromise, obviously, and to talk in the same eye level, and to really give them the main values and that they can have from your product, that your product offers, obviously. And so when we talk about ways to change perception in general, I would say there are so many ways, but we really use rebranding. We did acquisition videos. We are doing partnerships with thought leaders. It's very important when you want to change perception and when you want to improve your brand is to be where the big players are and to be next to these players. Obviously, with sponsorship, a lot of events, and you need to be careful also. Try to find which one do you want to do. Not all of them are successful, but it depends what your KPI is. You always need to understand what your KPI is, whether it's awareness and exposure, or you truly want to have leads and signups. This will help you think about how much money you put and where you invest. And obviously, education. Education is so important. You need to create, and developers like videos, but they like articles as well, and they like blog posts. So you need to combine an effort in all of these channels to really educate them and show them, and also through influencers, like what can you really do, and don't think that they will always find everything by themselves. So this is about also education, and the most important that evolve kind of everything inside is the inbound marketing. When you have a big chunk of users that don't use a specific feature or product within your big company, it depends. Maybe you have only one product in the company, it depends. But if you have a multiple, always take advantage of your existing users and try to use these inbound marketing campaigns to really drive the growth of a healthy growth of successful users, of happy users, and they will help you to grow. Once they're happy and they're successful, it resonates within the next audience and other companions and friends and colleagues everywhere. So what we did essentially, we put this goals in front of us, what we want to make, where we are successful, and what we want to achieve in this perception and marketing campaigns that we want to do, perception changes. We It's always important that to always stick with your audience while nurturing your professionals and always learning from your community and to learn what made them so successful in order to replicate it. So as you can see, with these goals that we put, so once we put them in front of us, it's much more easier to create our tasks for the team. So what we did all the way on the was putting these goals and translate them to KPIs eventually. And when you create your KPI, you translate these goals to KPIs, there are a few things that you need to take in consideration. You always have to be focused. I know it sounds like cliche, but really, it depends how much resource you have or how much your company is willing to invest. But focusing on what's successful, focusing means after testing and understanding what it works, also you need to focus what you are trying to achieve. You understand your goals and what you're trying to achieve. Um, Measurable. Another thing that we found different creatives and different ways to monitor our activities of users. Make sure that like whatever you can is measurable and find ways to monitor it. Sometimes it's hard, but you can always find workaround. And this is your job as PMMs or marketers, is to always find a solution, whether if it exists or not. Make your KPIs reachable. Don't put numbers that are just pretty. Like eventually your managers will not be satisfied. You will not be. You will be very unsatisfied, and it could really harm you and the team. So make putting setting up a KPI that can be actually reachable and attainable. It's a really key to grow, even if it's slower but safer. And obviously, make it sure that it's time bound. And this KPIs needs to be reachable within a certain amount of time. Cool. So nowadays, I just want to say that we're putting a lot of effort in bringing also users to Wix and convert them to fellow users, but we put a lot of effort now in educating and transferring or converting more users into working with Velo and add code and in their own way. We'll always try to find their way that they like, whether they're coders or whether they're not, just to make sure that they're successful and try to understand what they're doing, obviously, but to help them achieve what they need for their website or business using Velo or Wix essentially. So a few takeouts that I would like to share with you from all these almost 3 years in Wix and doing product marketing for Velo is that invest in your inbound. This is obviously where you will get most of the growth when it comes to SaaS platforms, and it really depends. But I really believe in that. So the second one is listen to the market, but mostly to your users' intent. This is so important. Like you need to listen to the market, but your users will give you most of the answers or what's next or what they need and how to make them successful. So this is like the key. And I keep repeating it. But listen to the intent, what they try to achieve. Educate your audience in the way they like, as I said a few times, like not everyone like the same resources. So it's really important to find the right one and make a diversity or a variety of resources that they can use. Don't pretend or overpromise anything to your audience. Obviously, you don't want to fail them and you don't want them to feel like they were overpromised and they cannot achieve the stuff that they are trying to achieve. Lastly, keep your goals and KPIs focused. It's really, really helpful when you're dealing with new audience or a more professional audience or more sophisticated audience or everywhere, like to keep your goals and KPI focused so you can achieve what you're trying to achieve now. And if you want to focus on growth. If you want to if you want to focus on a make them more successful, try to put it depends on your obviously resources, but try to keep focus on your team and your goals. And that's it. Hope you enjoy it. I helped with some points and that our story will inspire you. And thank you so much.